This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional medical advice. Please consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare specialist before starting any new vitamins or supplements mentioned in this video. Use of this information is at your own risk. Imagine stepping out of bed tomorrow morning, and for just a split second, your knees give a slight, almost unnoticeable shudder. Or perhaps, as you try to stand up from a deep, comfortable armchair, you find yourself instinctively planting both hands on the armrests, pushing with every ounce of your upper body strength just to get onto your feet. Most people brush this off. They blame a long day, a bad mattress, or the simple, inevitable passage of time. They call it aging. But what if that minor morning instability is not a natural milestone of growing older? What if it is a catastrophic silent alarm? What if, while you were sleeping peacefully, your body was actively digesting its own tissue, embarking on a process of biological self-cannibalism that has been eroding your vitality for years? If you do not stop this invisible decay immediately, your body will continue to systematically dismantle your muscles, leaving your heart vulnerable, your brain starved, and your life entirely stripped of independence. Welcome to ElderFit Nutrition. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. If you want to protect your autonomy and uncover the harsh truths about longevity that the medical establishment rarely discusses, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel right now. Your support gives us the motivation to keep researching and creating these life-changing videos for you. The reality we face after the age of 60 is chilling, yet almost completely shrouded in silence. Chronic, progressive muscle wasting is silently sabotaging nearly 1 in 3 older adults, acting as a slow-motion executioner of physical freedom. This is a systemic emergency of the highest order. Yet, nobody warns you. Your pharmacist hands you your prescriptions without a word, and your regular doctor likely glosses over it during your brief annual checkup. But the cost of this collective silence is paid in human autonomy. We are talking about a hidden crisis that directly accelerates heart failure, compromises kidney filtration, and starves the brain of vital metabolic support, all at the exact same time. The price of ignoring these initial warning signs is a rapid descent into absolute dependency, where even the simplest tasks become insurmountable mountains. When you lose the structural integrity of your muscles, your body loses its primary shield against metabolic decay. It is a terrifying realization that the simple inability to open a jar isn't just an inconvenience. It is the physical proof that your internal organs are losing their biological anchor. Every ignored twitch, every accepted moment of weakness is a step closer to a sudden, catastrophic fall. The body is sending a desperate distress signal every single morning, pleading for intervention before the damage becomes entirely irreversible. It is a race against time, an invisible clock ticking down inside your cells, where every day of inaction means another layer of vital tissue is permanently erased from your frame. Before we unmask the hidden mechanisms driving this destruction, let us pause for a moment of honest reflection. Think about your own daily routine and choose the answer that best reflects your current reality. A. I frequently feel a sudden wave of physical exhaustion or leg weakness in the morning, but I have always assumed it was just a normal part of getting older. I feel physically strong and steady every morning, and I am watching this purely to prevent future muscle loss. Please drop a comment below with either A or B to let us know where you stand. To truly conquer this silent predator, we must journey beneath the skin and understand the intricate, unseen biological matrix that governs your musculature after the age of 60. For generations, we have been conditioned to view muscles through a purely mechanical lens, as mere ropes and pulleys designed to move our skeleton from point A to point B. This superficial understanding is a dangerous mistake. In the realm of advanced cellular biology, your muscle mass is recognized as your body's largest and most critical metabolic organ. It operates as the ultimate emergency reservoir for essential amino acids, the primary engine for clearing glucose from your bloodstream, and a vital immunomodulatory shield that dictates how effectively your body fights off systemic infections. However, when the calendar crosses the threshold of 60, a dramatic and hostile shift occurs within your internal chemistry. The body enters a state known as anabolic resistance, This means the very same plate of food or the same physical activity that easily built robust muscle fibers in your 40s now barely registers at the cellular level. Your molecular machinery becomes numb to the signals of growth. Statistics reveal a terrifying trajectory. After 60, the rate of muscle dissipation accelerates by 30 to 40%. This is not a slow, gentle decline. It is a metabolic freefall. As these specialized muscle fibers evaporate, they are not replaced by healthy tissue, but are instead infiltrated by pockets of marbling fat and fibrotic scar tissue, leaving you structurally hollowed out from the inside. The consequences of this biological matrix collapse extend far beyond physical weakness. Because your muscles serve as the primary storage site for amino acids, their systemic destruction forces your vital organs to look elsewhere for survival. When your immune system faces an infection or when your liver needs to detoxify compounds, it begins to ruthlessly harvest amino acids from your remaining skeletal muscles. This creates a devastating cascade. A body stripped of its muscle mass experiences a 45% spike in severe systemic infections because the white blood cells are deprived of their primary fuel source, glutamine. Furthermore, without adequate muscle tissue to act as a sponge for circulating blood sugar, your body is flooded with unmanaged glucose, forcing the pancreas into a state of chronic exhaustion. Deep within this failing matrix, the powerhouses of your cells, the mitochondria, begin to flicker out like dying stars. When these microscopic factories decline, they release highly damaging reactive oxygen species that further mutilate the surrounding protein strands. This internal environment becomes toxic to survival, transforming your once resilient physique into a fragile shell. The degradation of these mitochondrial networks means that even if you force yourself to move, energy production is severely bottlenecked, creating a chronic state of cellular fatigue that locks the muscle tissue into a perpetual cycle of breakdown. It is a profound structural emergency where the body, starved of its dynamic metabolic engine, begins to age at an exponential rate, compromising the very foundation of your longevity. Your muscles are the very currency of your survival, and every percentage point lost is a direct compromise of your remaining lifespan. To stop this catastrophic erosion, we must unmask the 5 subterranean forces tearing down your muscular foundation from within. The first hidden saboteur is the insidious disruption of your nocturnal sleep. Fragmented sleep is not just an inconvenience. It triggers a relentless surge of the catabolic hormone cortisol. While you toss and turn, this stress hormone acts like an internal pair of scissors, systematically slicing apart the delicate protein strands of your muscles to harvest emergency energy. This destructive cycle is amplified by a second force, a critical, cell-level starvation of vitamin D3 and magnesium. These are not optional supplements. They are the absolute biological keys to your physical architecture. Vitamin D3 binds directly to receptors on fast-twitch type 2 muscle fibers, the very fibers that protect you from a devastating fall, while magnesium fuels the cellular ATP engines required for muscle contraction and relaxation. Without this micronutrient blueprint, your muscle cells remain perpetually locked in a state of starvation, completely unable to repair the daily damage. Deepening this crisis is the third factor, a silent overnight metabolic betrayal known as insulin resistance. When your muscle cells become numb to insulin, they firmly slam their doors shut, refusing to absorb the glucose and vital amino acids circulating in your blood. Starved of sustenance in a sea of plenty, your body is forced into a desperate survival mode, cannibalizing its own existing muscle tissue just to keep your vital organs functioning. This metabolic starvation is further accelerated by the fourth threat, a low-grade, invisible fire known as inflammaging. This chronic inflammatory state releases a constant, toxic drip of destructive cytokines that melt away muscle fibers day after day, quietly damaging the delicate neuromuscular bridges that connect your brain to your limbs. Long before overt neurological conditions like Parkinson's disease or Lewy body dementia reveal their classic motor tremors, this underlying inflammation is already dismantling your physical stability and coordination. Yet, the single most devastating weapon against your remaining muscle mass is the cumulative burden of everyday prescription medications. millions of adults over 60 unknowingly take a toxic combination of statins for cholesterol and diuretics for blood pressure. Statins directly attack the energy-producing mitochondria within your muscle cells, inducing severe myopathy, while diuretics aggressively flush out the essential minerals needed for basic movement. This pharmaceutical crossfire leaves your muscles completely hollowed out, transforming your ultimate metabolic shield into an incredibly fragile shell. This chemical warfare occurring inside your own body is the primary reason why standard exercise routines fail, as the underlying biological machinery required to sustain and rebuild muscle fibers has been fundamentally compromised by these 5 invisible forces. The devastating reality of these hidden causes becomes undeniable when we look at the clinical histories of those who have stood on the precipice of losing their freedom. Consider the case of a 71-year-old retired engineer who began noticing a subtle, unexplained weakness in his thighs every morning, a symptom he easily dismissed as a natural consequence of aging. This ignored distress signal culminated in a catastrophic fall right beside his bed. When clinical specialists looked beneath the surface, they discovered a severe state of muscle wasting, driven entirely by an undiagnosed case of overnight insulin resistance. For 18 months, his body had been trapped in a state of metabolic starvation, ruthlessly dissolving his leg muscles for survival while his blood sugar spiked unnoticed. He felt helpless, believing his active life was over. However, once this metabolic blockade was identified, his treatment was completely revolutionized. Through precise dietary adjustments rich in bioavailable proteins, targeted micronutrient therapy, and gentle adaptive resistance movements, his cells regained their insulin sensitivity. Within 4 short months, his muscular foundation was restored, allowing him to walk miles with complete confidence and proving that information, when acted upon, is the ultimate medicine. An equally profound pattern emerges in the story of a 74-year-old grandmother who endured 6 agonizing years of chronic, full-body muscle fatigue. She accepted this heavy, lid-like weakness as her permanent reality, unaware that a silent war was being waged in her body by her own prescription list. She was taking a maximum dose of cholesterol-lowering statins alongside a powerful diuretic, a combination that no one had ever audited as a collective threat. This pharmaceutical overlap had completely paralyzed the mitochondrial energy factories inside her muscle tissue, starving her cells of potassium and magnesium. The breakthrough came when a comprehensive medical review replaced the aggressive statin with an alternative that spared her muscles while optimizing her electrolyte balance. Within weeks, the suffocating fog of physical exhaustion lifted. Her cells began to heal, and she regained the strength to carry her own groceries and play with her grandchildren without assistance. These lives demonstrate that profound muscle decay is never a final sentence. It is a treatable condition waiting for the right intervention. Reclaiming your biological destiny and halting this profound muscular erosion does not require a miraculous cure. It demands an immediate, deliberate reconstruction of your daily choices, starting tonight. The first and most vital pillar of this reclamation is nutrient restructuring, specifically front-loading your protein intake. You must break the habit of consuming a minimal breakfast and a heavy dinner. To bypass the barrier of anabolic resistance, your body requires 25 to 30 grams of pristine, bioavailable protein distributed evenly, focusing heavily on breakfast and lunch. This precise flooding of amino acids is what awakens the master molecular switch known as mTOR, forcing your cells to build new muscle tissue rather than drowning in daytime catabolism. Simultaneously, you must ruthlessly purge your routine of over-the-counter chemical crutches, particularly older sleep aids and sedative antihistamines, that quietly sabotage your body's natural overnight tissue repair mechanisms. Instead, look toward optimizing your cellular environment by introducing a synchronized regimen of vitamin D3 and highly absorbable magnesium in the late afternoon. This strategic timing ensures that these crucial catalysts are fully absorbed and ready to fuel the neuromuscular pathways and mitochondrial engines just as you enter sleep. Furthermore, you must replace passive movement with intentional adaptive resistance stimulation. Walking on flat ground is simply not enough to convince an aging body to preserve its expensive muscle tissue. You must introduce targeted mechanical tension right in your living room through gentle chair squats, resistance band extensions, or steady heel raises at least 3 times a week, sending an undeniable signal to your nervous system that these muscle fibers are essential for survival. Finally, take full agency over your health by conducting a comprehensive medication audit. Write down every tablet that crosses your lips, schedule a dedicated appointment with your physician, and ask the hard, necessary question: are these prescriptions keeping me alive at the expense of my physical autonomy, and what are the safer alternatives? By asserting control over these variables, you actively dismantle the 5 hidden forces of decay and begin the profound process of rebuilding your strength from the bedrock up. As we step back and look at the broader tapestry of our health, it becomes profoundly clear that the frailty we have so casually attributed to the natural progression of time is often nothing more than an unaddressed biological imbalance. Growing older should never mean a mandatory surrender of your independence, nor should it mean watching your world shrink because your body can no longer support your ambitions. The deep, transformative lesson to be woven into your life from this moment forward is that your body is never working against you. It is a highly sophisticated, deeply intelligent system that communicates through whispers long before it screams in agony. A slight tremor in the morning, a momentary struggle to stand, or an unexplained wave of exhaustion are not verdicts of decay. They are urgent invitations to intervene, to question, and to adapt. When you realize that your skeletal muscles are the literal currency of your survival, your entire perspective on aging shifts. Longevity is not a passive waiting game or a roll of the genetic dice. It is a masterpiece of daily engineering. To apply this truth to your life today, you must transition from a passive recipient of medical care to an active, informed advocate for your own vitality. Stop accepting physical limitations as a default setting. Look at your nutrition, your sleep, your movement, and your medicine cabinet through a lens of strict accountability. Understand that every meal is an opportunity to fuel growth, every movement is a command to preserve strength, and every medication must be weighed against its cost to your quality of life. By reclaiming your physical foundation, you are not merely adding years to your life, but giving yourself the priceless gift of standing tall, moving freely, and living completely on your own terms for decades to come. To help everyone in our community learn from different viewpoints, what is your perspective on this topic? Do you feel that the traditional medical system does a good job of warning us about muscle loss as we age? Or have you had to figure most of this out on your own? Please politely share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below so we can all reference your valuable insights. If you found this information deeply meaningful, please consider subscribing to our channel to support us, giving us the ongoing motivation to create more impactful, life-changing content for your journey ahead.